We are live. We are live with Chief Dele Momodu. Our guest today is a philanthropist, a journalist, a leader, a politician, and a pioneer. His name is Dele Momodu. Chief Dele Momodu, welcome to LNC.
Thank you, my very dear brother, Mr. Jide Salu. Longest time no hear, longest time no see. Well, I'm happy to see you via the internet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are pleased to have you as a guest. It's not a coincidence that we are having you this week for all the reasons, but let's just get on with it. There are numerous topics. There are numerous topics to talk about and to touch on, but as events have forced our hands, inevitably we have to start with the presidential announcement pertaining to June 12th. So let's talk politics and Chief MKO Abiola. On Wednesday, the president awarded the highest honor. Hello? Just bear with me. We lost Chief Momodu for a minute. You are back. You are back. I was just saying that on Wednesday, the president awarded posthumously the highest honor in Nigeria, GCFR, to Chief MKO Abiola, the presumed winner of the June 12, 1993 council elections. How was the news broken to you? Where were you, and what was your first reaction?
Well, I was briefly in London. I had left Paris to go to London briefly, and I got a call from a very, very prominent Nigerian politician who wanted to alert me to expect some special news later in the day from President Muhammadu Buhari. And I was like, okay, what is he about to do again? You know? And then he said, okay, let me just tell you, instead of waiting. And then he whispered, Abiola is about to be honored. And I said, okay, that would be a master stroke. So the report, I think, leaked when they started circulating the press release from the office of the president. So naturally, they have to send to the media to get them prepared so that it can be published everywhere. So, and that was it. In a matter of minutes, everywhere was on fire. Wow. So that was how I got to know about it. And I tweeted immediately congratulating the president for a job well done. Of course, like everything human, motives were read to it. I couldn't be bothered about the motive. The Yorubas have a saying, people said it's because he wants to win votes from the Southwest next year. That is fine. I don't have any problem with it. If some people will vote just because he honored Abiola on June 12 and the victims and all that, then that is fine. So it means God is working as usual in miraculous ways. Number two, the military in Nigeria annulled the best election, and a former military general is de-annulling it. So who are we to complain? As the Yorubas will say again, so, you know, so a man sees a snake, then a woman brings a cutlass to kill the snake. The most important thing is for the snake to die. So the most important thing to us, whether it is Buhari or it is someone else, whoever finds the courage to do what he did that day deserves a standing ovation from us. He deserves his accolades, and we cannot rob President Muhammadu Buhari of his accolade. So we can go into all the conspiracy theories. There are things that some of us know about how long it has taken for us to get to where we are. 25 years is a long time in the life of any human being, and not to talk of a nation. A lot of water has passed under the bridge. Some of us have been in prison. Some have been maimed. Some have been murdered in the last 25 years. But now we can finally say, okay, at least we're beginning to live in reality. And that common sense is returning to our polity. So for those who will say, it's because Buhari wants to win an election, I have no problem with them. I have no quarrels with them. They can pick up whatever issues they have. But my advice, especially to our leaders in Abuja, is that nobody should toy with June 12th. June 12th is that mysterious child who has refused. They tried to abort it in the mother's womb, and it has refused to go away. What Dio Fagunwa will call a Jantala Omo, a baby that as soon as he came into this world, started eating akaswe eko mefa, what you don't expect a child to eat. And, the June 12th crisis is one of the reasons why we're in the mess we're in Nigeria today. Because on June 12th, everything we used to quarrel about disappeared. God made it possible for Nigerians to rise up as one, without thinking of ethnicity, without thinking of religion, the poor, the rich, no drop of rain anywhere, no hooligans stealing ballot boxes. Abiola won fair and square. Even in front of the home of his rival, Alhaji Bashir Tofa in Kano, Abiola won. Hands down. And nobody complained to the military. But the military, just a group of just a few people, got themselves together and killed the dream of a one Nigeria. Since then, we have gone from one crisis to the other. But I'm happy that you can see from the reaction that it is good to do good. If you read my article today on the back page of This Day, I said, thank you very much, President Buhari. I've been one of his critics, but on this one, when you do good, we must salute you. So this is not a question of just getting unnecessarily excited or excitable. It is a question of what is fair and what is right. I salute his decision.
Let me ask you this, Chief Momodu. Many young Nigerians, many young Nigerians born in 1993 or after do not or may not know who MK Abiola was. Who was MK Abiola, and who was he to you? What was he like? What was MKO like?
MKO was one in a million, if not one in several millions. He was just an extraordinary soul. God blessed him so much. God blessed him with brilliance. His brain was magnetic. He sees you once, he remembers you all the time, remembers your name, your family name, your father, wherever you met, he would remember. He was also the greatest employer of labor at the time. His business empire was so humongous that he had the largest newspaper conglomerate in Nigeria, if not in Africa. We had about 8 titles in the Concord Newspapers group, where I started practicing as a full-time journalist in 1988. We had Yoruba newspaper, we had Igbo newspaper, we had Hausa newspaper, we had Business Concord for business-inclined people, we had Sunday Concord, we had Weekend Concord, the largest circulating weekend paper every Saturday in Nigeria. We had National Concord. On Sunday, and then he recruited the best of journalists across Nigeria. The Dele Giwas, the Reekus, the Nosai Gebos, the Merlin Ezekiels, the Micah Woyifas, the Dele Alakes, the Insikak Essence, the Tomboras, the MCK Ajuluchukus. He had everybody. He never discriminated against any Nigerian. In fact, most of the people who worked in Concord were not Yoruba people, and they were at the top of their game. And people said, oh, he was an Islamic fundamentalist. No, foul. He was not. It was nothing near that. In Concord, it did not matter whether you are Christian or you are Muslim. As a matter of fact, we had a bush canteen in Concord where we used to go and eat. People can smoke and drink. It's none of his business. He never bothered about those petty things. And Abiola contributed immensely to building libraries. On a single day, he gave 30 million naira to 30 Nigerian universities. It was unprecedented at a time when money was money. You know, he did that because he believed so much in the virtue of education. Abiola built mosques, built churches across Nigeria. He gave borehole to communities, just for them to have pipe bomb water. Went to great lengths to reconcile warring families or factions. I remember in particular when Sultan Abubakar, I think the third, died in Sokoto, and his son, Alhaji Mashido, at the time, wanted to take over, but the government brought in Alhaji Dasuki. And there was crisis and chaos and mayhem. You won't believe it. Chief Abiola traveled all the way to Sokoto to douse the tension and the fire. And then the conflagration went down immediately. That was Abiola for you. Abiola attended people's marriages, attended events. He was the biggest launcher. Everywhere anything was being launched, Abiola was always the chief launcher. To me personally, if I announced to the whole world that he had adopted me as his son, I don't know what he found in me, but he used to tell me that he was very, very excited about my style of writing, and it was all over the newspapers when I became Abiola's adopted son. In 1992, December 19, to be precise, Abiola played the role of my father at my wedding in Ijebu-Igbo, and my wife was handed over to him, and he asked Dele, he used to call me Dele One. So where are we going from here? I said, we're going to Ijebu-Ode, and you won't believe it. He followed us from Ijebu-Igbo to Ijebu-Ode, where he prayed for me and my wife. He sang Afokwe Folorun, a Christian hymn, and everybody sang along with him, and he prayed. And then, of course, a week to my wedding, he had contributed substantially. He almost practically single-handedly, bankrolled the wedding. It's difficult to find an Abiola. There are a few of them around today, very, very, very few. But Abiola was the man of so many parts. He had his fingers in so many pies, and you could describe him as a business octopus, if you like.
Chief Momodu, why was it that the presidential election in 1993 united Nigerians across ethnic, religious, and ideological lines? And 25 years later, Nigeria hasn't been able to conduct a fair and free election acceptable to all?
Yes, it should be clear to us that in an atmosphere of injustice, I'm sure you would have seen a video of Pastor Tunde Bakare that has gone viral. It's everywhere, where he predicted that until justice is done, Nigeria will continue to live and suffer because of this perfidy. It was such a perfidious act because what they did was to murder or attempt to murder that election. And you would have heard before that when you commit murder, you need to kill more to cover up the murder. That's what happened. So every government that came, because they didn't want to acknowledge the significance of June 12th, so they kept finding one stupid excuse or the other not to do anything. So That's why people are saying now that the reason Buhari did it, that after all, Buhari was in the Abacha government, Buhari was very close to Abacha, so why didn't they persuade Abacha to do it? It does not matter. God's time is the best. In one of my tweets, I said it. I said, and finally, after 25 years, the time finally came. So God's time, 25 years is like one day to God. God wanted us to see all the actors that we used to think they were the best people in Nigeria, the best leaders in Nigeria. They failed us woefully. From one government to the other, I mean, after Babangida left, Shonekan came. Shonekan is from the same Abeokuta as Abiola. We begged and begged, please honor this man. It was a blatant no. From Shonekan, we moved to Abacha. That was even worse. The winner of the election was locked up for 4 agonizing years in solitary confinement until he died. Abacha also died, just about 1 month apart. We don't know what happened to both of them, but they died. So thereafter, Absalami Abubakar came. Okay, it was under Absalami that Abiola died, while Abacha died just shortly before Absalami took over. It was after Abacha died that Absalami took over. From there, 1999 came, and the military cabal or mafia came together again and quickly repackaged Chief Olusegun Obasanjo for us. I supported Chief Olufalaye at the time. Of course, the mafia won the day. They had the full capacity to deploy everything at their disposal, and they made sure that Obasanjo came. Obasanjo also is from Abeokuta as Chief Moshood Abiola, and Obasanjo was supposed to be a compensation for what they did to Abiola. But what did we see? Instead of June 12 being adopted as Democracy Day in Nigeria, they changed it to May 29. I don't know what was sacrosanct about it, but that was what they gave us. And of course, we were powerless. We couldn't do anything. Abiola's Summit Oil International was the second indigenous oil company in Nigeria to discover oil in commercial quantity. The license, of course, was withdrawn. This was after he had spent over 400 million. My company then, Celebrities Goodwill Limited, handled the media consultancy for Summit Oil International, and Kola Abiola is the managing director. They suffered so much. They locked up the oil company. They locked up Wonder Bakery, which was within the same premises as Concord Newspapers. All the machines today are gone. Can you imagine the investment, the kind of stupendous money they had spent investing in different companies? They had farms in Lafiaji, they had farms in Dakar, in Taraba State. They had everything perished just because Abiola won an election. So, if we are having crisis of Boko Haram today, we are having all kinds of crises. I would say it started from the fact that we ran away from truth. We ran away from truth, and God has kept us here for 25 years to see Nigeria move from prosperity to poverty.
Wow. We seem to have lost you.
I'm hearing you.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh wow!
We have an image.
That's strange.
Do you want to? We could give you 30 seconds for you to log off and log back on.
Okay, thank you.
Could you bear with us, please? We have been chatting with Chief Dele Momodu. He's been with us. He's currently in Paris, where he connected with us. As you expect, we are connecting via the internet, and anything can go wrong. I have so many questions to ask Chief Dele Momodu. It's an opportunity for me to let you know that questions I ask my guests, they do not get it beforehand. So, you're back with us?
Yes, please. Can you see
Yes.
me now?
We can indeed. We can indeed.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, Chief Momodu. In 2015, which Buhari did you believe in? Was it the Buhari the person, Buhari the former military ruler, or Buhari the would-be president?
It was a combination. I remember we were on a bus drive in Abuja one day, long before the election, and I was with the then governor of Rivers State, Right Honorable Rotimi Chibuike Amechi. And there was this debate. Some people wanted us to drop the title of general, which was the highest achievement of Muhammadu Buhari. And Amechi turned to me and he said, Bob D, so what do you think? I said, no, how do you kill a man's biggest achievement in his life? Which reoccurred recently. Some people now have said we should not address him as general again. They were running away from Buhari, the dictator or whatever. And I told them, no, the best thing to do is to actually cash in on that general and begin to call him the people's general. That was how we made the general more, interesting and positive. People, they felt that general connotes dictatorship. But then, I believe that there is a way you can turn it around, and we turned it to the people's general, and everybody started calling him people's general. The other thing I also suggested was that we should begin to see Buhari as a Mandela option, because I was persuaded by what the people around him told us, that in the days of tribulations, you run to the elders of the house. And Buhari, hate him or love him, most people agree that he's still one of the most, how would I say, most honest Nigerians alive. You may disagree with me, but that is the perception. He's been able to sell that brand, Buhari, to us very well. So, and that was when we started talking about the Mandela option. And for me, Mandela option was a stopgap. It wasn't a permanent solution. We wanted to get rid of the profligacy and the recklessness and irresponsibility of the PDP. That was our idea at the time. So we needed someone who was strong enough and powerful enough to steer the daylight out of PDP. And that was why some of us settled for Buhari. And I don't think you can say we were all fools. If people like Babangida, like Tinubu, like Obasanjo, like T.Y. Danjuma, and like small people like us who all come together. I used to criticize Buhari ferociously. In 2011, he invited me to his house in Abuja one night when now Dr. Lanre Tejuso, now a senator, told him I was in Abuja because I used to criticize him a lot. And he told Lanre that he should please bring me to his house that night. And I went to see him. And he said, why do I criticize him so much? What has he done to me? I said, as a matter of fact, I like him, I admire him, but I feel he's old. I've always believed that younger people should be allowed to do these things, And of course, I was under the influence of Obama at that time. And that night he tried to explain to me that he still has something to offer Nigeria and all that. And I said, well, I believe in the area of anti-corruption, that if I become the president of Nigeria, because I was already contesting against him and President Jonathan, I said, if I become the president, then I can increase the capacity of EFCC. If possible, even combine EFCC, ICPC, Special Fraud Unit, and all of them, and hand them over to him. I know he will do a good job. But then, that didn't fly. He lost the election, I lost the election, and Jonathan came in. So, by the time we were approaching 2015, and we felt, look, the way Jonathan and co were going, Nigeria will collapse before our very eyes. So we had to take a decision. So all of us who used to criticize him, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nasiru El-Rufai, Dele Momodu. In fact, PDP took out adverts with our caricatures, full-page adverts in the newspapers, quoting how we used to abuse Buhari. And today, some people are saying Buhari used jazz on all of us. That how could we have forgotten his antecedents and everything? But it happens in life. Out of desperate situations, you try all sorts. If you fail, you move on. I promise, I said, if the man does not deliver, I will move on. So I moved on. I publicly apologized on the pages of newspapers, and I wrote desperate memos to him. I was the first publisher Buhari invited when he became president. And we sat one-on-one, just two of us with God, inside his office. And I told him, I said, I appointed myself special advisor to Jonathan, free of charge. And I was advising week in, week out. I'm launching one of those books on July 10, 2018, by the grace of God, in Lagos. And when you read the things I wrote, you will see that I was a prophet without having a church. Every day I warn Jonathan about. Today, I communicate with him regularly. Today, he knows I'm not his enemy. I don't criticize people because I want. People will say it's because they didn't make you minister. Anybody wants to be minister, well, first of all, you will join the political party. I'm not a member of PDP. I'm not a member of NPC. I was a volunteer. As a matter of fact, I've been in opposition most of my life. I did not support Obasanjo. I did not support Yaradua. I did not support Jonathan. The only time I ever canvassed for Jonathan was when he was being harassed by the cabal. And Jonathan did not send me to go and do it. We could have been killed that day, myself, Charlie Boy and the rest of us. We were in front of the National Assembly with fully armed police on our case. They grabbed my neck. If you go on the internet, you will see the pictures there. So for me, Buhari was our last choice. PDP did not give us an option. That is what happened. Definitely, I would have wished that we had a younger person like Donald Duke at the time. Till today, I'm still dreaming and hoping that something will happen and Baba will voluntarily say, okay, enough of all this tension, enough of all this crisis. I want to do something special. And then they have enough good people in APC. We have good people in PDP. I don't know why we cannot make use of them.
You once contested to become the president of Nigeria. I'm still going to ask you why, you attract so many critics, but I will come to that. But you once contested, some till today still believe that you did it for publicity sake, that it was a publicity gimmick. Was it?
By the grace of Almighty God, I'll be launching another book, same July 10, 2018, for the first time, titled Fighting Lions, and written by my campaign manager at that time, the presidential campaign manager, Oyimai Godwin Amaize. You will be amazed. I don't do anything for fun. No way. I was born a scholar. I grew up in a university environment. I didn't come to Lagos until I was 28. That is why within 2 years, God made it possible for me to have sporadic promotions. It's unprecedented. Within 2 years, from staff writer, I became the highest paid editor in Nigeria. That's the work of God. If I say I want to do something, I went into that race, that presidential race, because I was tired of lamenting like Jeremiah. Nigerians will comment and lament, and at the end of the day, we seem to love our oppressors. But I found solace in a book I read as a young man, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, by Paulo Freire, the Brazilian author. The oppressed man, according to him, respects only one man in his life, his oppressor. The oppressed man dreams of only one thing in his life, to become an oppressor. That is the problem of Nigeria. And we must situate it properly. Nigerians.
How can it be situated properly?
Yeah, it's human psychology. It's human psychology. People, if you see a manager in an office who is wicked, everybody will be afraid of him. If you see a manager who is nice, everybody will be rude to him because they know he won't do anything. He will scream, he will bark, but he will not bite. That is our situation. So Nigerians, and then when they see their mates, when you see your mates, you think, who is Dele Momodu? Dele that we used to sleep on the same match before he wants to be president. Stupid boy. Then some people say, what has he done in his life? What experience has he got? Those who are there, what experience they have? Experience of looting. So that's one of the reasons when I was going to run, I went to the Labour Party. I didn't join the big parties. I went to the Labour Party hoping that I could galvanize the workers of Nigeria and turn the Labour Party into a workers' party, just like you have in England. I came to London and met with Andy Love, a member of parliament at the time, and he agreed to introduce me to the Labour headquarters in Victoria. And I went there. And they agreed to help us formulate policies in the area of agriculture, in the area of social welfare, in education, in transport, and so on. For me, because I believe the British system of government is still one of the best in the world. And a country as poor and as impoverished as Nigeria would require a social welfare system. That's another problem in Nigeria. No ideology, no principle, no philosophy. People just join parties. That is why it's so convenient for people to migrate from A to B. You could see when I left Labour, when I saw that Labour too was just as useless as the rest of them, I migrated to Ganifa Emi's party, the National Conscience Party. I didn't get tempted to go to PDP. Of course, that's how I lost the election naturally. The lesson to learn from it, and I'm saying this without any fear of contradiction, that it will take a miracle, like what happened in France, where I am right now, where an independent candidate virtually won an election. It will take the same miracle for the young people canvassing today, the Mogalus, the Shogures, the Feladro Toyes, the Alista Shoyodes, the Tanko Yunusa. Tanko Yunusa was my vice presidential candidate at the time. He's also contesting now. It will take that miracle. If they are not in one of the two top political parties, it is an uphill task. I can see that Shogure is using his media experience and exposure very well. I hope he can drive the message harder and he can reach as many, but it is an uphill task. I pray for them. I wish that something will happen and Nigeria will change its present style of operation, what we call modus operandi.
Wow, you actually answered the question I was about to ask next, which was about the independent candidates. Chief Momodu, let me ask you this. Is Ekiti State Governor your friend? Let's talk about
yes,
Ayo. He's your friend. His media
Fayose is my friend. We talk every now and then. The last time we spoke, he called me. I was outside the country. I think I was in Rwanda or somewhere. He called with another friend of mine, Biodun Fari, and wanted to thank me because I wrote a nice article about his presidential ambition that those who are calling him jokers, because that was how people used to call me jokers, should never call him jokers. People who take their destiny in their hands should never be called jokers. But I see some young guys of recent attack me because they say I am supporting Fayemi. Number one.
I was just about to come to that. Let me ask you, his media advisor said, and I quote, you visit Fayose but collect Amichi's millions to attack him.
You see, fortunately, he is too young for him to understand why elders do what they do. So I don't know him personally. I've heard his name, but maybe we've met, but I don't know him. But when we're sitting down, me and Fayose at a hotel and we're drinking, you will not see any of these guys near us. So he's a very good friend. He's a brother. Even when they impeached him the first time, I was one of the people who sympathized with him because I didn't like the kangaroo way he was removed. And that's why I've always preached against kangarooism. At that time, we used to meet at Planet One Hotel in Maryland, in Lagos. So Fayose's family and mine, we've come a long way. My wife is from Ibadan. And so, at any rate, how anybody will say I collect millions from Amechi to attack Fayose is illogical to me and very unreasonable. What has Amechi to gain if I attack Fayose? That's number one. Am I not criticizing Buhari, Amechi's boss? So why won't Amechi then pay me to stop talking against his boss? And he would rather waste millions on me attacking Fayose. And he should give one example of where I've attacked Fayose. All I've done, what I do on my Instagram page, my Facebook, is to report anything of interest. That's how you can generate followership. I posted videos of Fayose. There was one where he asked some workers that he was going to sack them, and they were groveling before him. I did not pass any negative comment. But of course, people saw it as a negative video. I didn't manufacture that video. I saw it. I didn't even know when it took place, where it took place, but I just like the fact that, and I said, oh, Fayose, the disciplinarian.
Yes.
What is negative about saying Fayose? But they were so panicky. It's because he's supporting Fayemi. Let me tell you, I supported Fayemi the first time. I gave him, I've said this publicly, I gave him money. My hard income, not that I had money, the little I had, I scraped for friendship's sake. I don't forget my friends. If people these days don't have loyalty to their friends, I do. Fayemi and I, we were in exile together. Fayemi was the coordinator of the Radio Freedom, later Radio Kudirat program. I was running the Yoruba program for Radio Kudirat. My name, my pseudonym at that time was Saliu Elenugboro Eniolorun Opa. Fayemi wrote a letter to the Home Office when I applied for asylum. He wrote a supporting letter to let them know that my life would be in danger should I be sent back to Nigeria. Fayemi got Wole Soyinka to also write a supportive letter for me to the Home Office. At that time, I can never forget that. If people forget their benefactors, if 20 years after the death of Abiola, I'm still screaming Abiola, people said he used to give us money. But is he giving us money from his grave? That is why I'm supporting Fayemi. I don't care if he will get one vote. It makes no difference. He is my friend. The other candidates, I don't know. Maybe if Fayose was the one contesting, then they can fight me. So you can't say I must support Fayose and I must support his candidate. For me, that is not different from the tyranny and dictatorship we all preach against. The essence of democracy is choice. I must, at my age, at 58 years plus, if a small boy will tell me I have no right to support a candidate, he can abuse me from now till kingdom come. The same mouth that the snail has used to attack the gods. You see the snail, it goes on the ground and digs the same mouth into the soil. So I'm not bothered about people attacking me. My wife the other day was saying, they said people were attacking you because of Fayemi and Fayose. I said, I don't care. I mean, the new generation, in our generation, we faced bullets on the streets. We had no smartphone to hide behind. A lot of these guys, when I come across them, when they abuse him, they will come and beg me, please unblock me. I don't. Yes. When they see you, they want to take pictures with you. I meet them on the planes. I used to attack you, but I didn't know you are this simple. Oh, I didn't know you are this humble. I love Nigerian youths. The ones who don't love me, the ones who want to be Dele Momodu and feel by abusing me is the way they can become Dele Momodu, I wish them good luck. The boy, if Governor Fayose sees me tomorrow, I'm only about 6 months older than him. He calls me a gun. That's a reasonable Yoruba man. And that's why we all love him. But these boys don't know. They want to be overzealous. They have to attack me to earn their pay. That's why they will insult me that I'm collecting millions from Amechi. I'm sure I'm almost 5 years older than Amechi, so I will now go to Amechi, come and give me money. Oga, I joined politics as far back as 1982. How old was Amechi then? 1982. Even Jonathan, who became president, joined politics 16 years after, around 1998. I joined in 1982. I've been interacting and mingling with the Akiloyes, the Akijides, the Olunloyos, the Omoborewos. At 23, I was private secretary to Chief Akonverowo when he was deputy governor of old Ondo State, combination of Ondo and Ekiti. Where were all these guys? So for me, I manage my life. The reason everybody, including the president, would invite me to their offices or their homes is because they know I will not attack you in the morning and come in the night to come and beg. That is not me. I'm not a government contractor. A lot of them feel I'm a billionaire. I'm just collecting money left, right, center. Anybody I interview, oh, Dele has been paid. And then, if that's how I make money, then I must have some magic that makes the money. No. If you see me, go and study my pictures. They are all on Google. Go and check them. Do I look like a houseboy to anybody, to any leader? How would I have criticized Obasanjo for 8 years? Criticized Yaradua, criticized Jonathan, and now even the Buhari that I supported, when I saw that APC was fumbling, I criticized them and advised them on what to do. And I don't just criticize. I offer my opinion and tell them this is the way forward. It's only a fool that will just fight blindly and attack people blindly without profiling solutions.
Wow. How important is it that Nigerians had 19 uninterrupted years of democratic rule?
Well, it's important, but I don't think we're fully democratic yet. I wrote that in my article this morning. I'm not sure if we're fully democratic, there will be no reason whatsoever for us to still have political prisoners at this time and age. If anybody has offended government or offended God, then send him to the court. We must obey the rule of law. If the court says release this person on bail, release him. Because you can't keep him there forever. Okay, look at the case of Al-Mustafa. Al-Mustafa was arrested and detained for the murder of Alhaji Kudirat Abiola. He was there for donkey years. I can't even remember for how long now, but it must be nearly 2 decades. What happened? They released him eventually. What happened to the case? So we must find a way. As soon as elections are over, let us begin to govern and leave EFCC, ICPC, Special Fraud Unit, CID, whatever agency we have, leave them to do their job without any interference. That is when people would support a government. But a government where, if you're in PDP, they'll come and pick you up. But if you run to APC, they will look the other way. People won't respect you. And that has been my advice to this government, that look, elections are over. You just settle down and do your job and leave others to also do their job.
Let's Chief Momodu, let's talk Ovation. What is really the inspiration? What was the inspiration behind Ovation?
It's a very long story, but I'll try to cut it short. I lost my job in 1991 as the editor of Classic. So that's another story for another day. And I wanted to do my own publication. And of course, I was already hooked on celebrity journalism. So I called Kunle Bakare, who was my flatmate and my colleague at Classic. I called him, I said, I want to start something. They had started Fame, and I wanted a name, that would symbolize celebrity status. So he brought out his dictionary and we're looking at the thesaurus and we're seeing names, Glitterati, Quest, Ovation. Then I jumped, I said, I like that name, Ovation. That's a good name, Ovation. Loud for a purpose, And that was it. So, and I quickly, hurriedly packaged something. Unfortunately for me, to cut it short, I couldn't raise the funds. That's what killed the dream. This was around 91, 92. I tried Dr. Mike Adenuga Jr. He was interested, but we had issues with ownership structure. And then He said he didn't want any trouble. He does not like that partnership in Africa is always a headache. But he would have been the best person for me at the time, you know. But see how God works mysteriously. I approached Kola Abiola. Kola said, oh, this is a beautiful business plan. I like it. I would like to join you, but I have a problem. My father is a publisher and the chairman of a newspaper conglomerate. If I join you now, people will say I'm trying to compete with my father. And I have 100% loyalty to my dad. That's the only reason. He could see I almost fainted. I was sitting in his house. It was in Anthony Village there. And he looked at me, could see that I was totally disappointed. I was in shock. So then he asked me, is there something else we can do together? I said, like what? He said, like media relations. Oh, I said, why not? He said, okay, I'll give you your first job now. And that was how Celebrities Goodwill was funded. It was Kola Abiola who gave me my first job. And he also bought me my first car, a Jetta at the time. He was only 29 years old. I can never forget that gentleman, Alhaji Abdulateef Kolawole Abiola. That's who I am. I don't forget whatever you do for me in life. I can't forget it. And so I forgot about Ovation momentarily, not knowing that God will bring me back to it. So by 1995, when it became obvious that Abacha was going to arrest me and charge me for treason, and I managed to escape out of Nigeria through Semeboda into Cotonou, to Togo, to Ghana, and from Ghana to England. So I got to England, and then my young cousin, Segun Fatoye, asked me one afternoon, we went to eat in his house on Old Kent Road, and he said, Egbon, what will you be doing in London? You've been here for about 3 months, no job. I said, I don't know. He said, Egbon, you have to know London is a leveler. There is no big man here. If you are not careful, you are going to wash plates or even wash dead bodies. So that was how he alerted me to the jolting realities of living in Britain. And I said, what can I do? He said, well, you were a damn good journalist back home in Nigeria. So why don't you set up a paper? I said, I studied Yoruba, and my mom taught me a lot of Yoruba. And Yoruba says, so money says if it is not at home, let no man makes any plans in its absence. So he said, but you have to see what is chasing you before you start running. We did our business plan. We needed £150,000 to start the kind of magazine, the quality we wanted, small scale. Of course, if you sold my family from first generation to the last generation, there was no way we could come up with that kind of money. So, but we had faith in God, and we believed that we can pull through. So we decided, let us start. And then my uncle, who was Segun Fatoye's dad, Chief Ezekiel Olasumoye Fatoye, was a retiree. And he decided I was going to risk his savings. It was a big risk. So the first £10,000 we used to start came from him. Then I approached my manager at the National Westminster Bank, a lady, a white lady, who told me I couldn't get a loan because we had no record of doing any business in the UK, so we had no credit history, but saw the enthusiasm in our faces and decided to risk £5,000 overdraft. And of course, we had friends here and there, Damola Aderemi, Yemi Aderemi, Bayo Williams, Damilola Abiodun, and all of them. Young guys. And they came and said, we will support you. You're a good man. We're sure you will do well. And I want to thank them. I'm forever grateful to everyone. There were people who brought us food every afternoon in our offices. And that was how we started. People didn't know we were doing crash program because we had a very beautiful office. But my idea of the beautiful office was for us to buy a good image. Because from working with very wealthy people in Nigeria or around the world, I realized that nobody does business with a poor man. And that's the mistake of our young people do. When they want to start a business, start going to people, I am broke, I don't even have money to get a table. I don't have, people will run away from you. When you fold, they won't pick your call. It's a lesson. I'm teaching entrepreneurship all over the places now. And I tell my young friends, stop moaning and groaning. Every day I open the internet on social media, people are begging for money. They put their bank account, put their phone number. People will run away from you. Do a proper business plan. Dress well. By the time you try 2, 3, 4 people, you might be lucky. They will see that, oh, this guy looks neat. Everybody likes a neat appearance. But when every day you phone, I have people, once I wake up, they start phoning me. Pa, 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 pa. I have not had any meal today, but you had money to buy internet to call me. You know, I want to see people, if you know how many people I've sent through school, just because I saw that they were serious about their future. They were not asking for frivolity. They were asking for substance. Somebody called, a lady called Bosse, called me many, many years ago, before the Naira crashed, said, Big Daddy, actually sent me a mail, said, Big Daddy, I want you to change my life. I was shocked. So I responded. I said, baby, how can I change your life when I've not changed my own? Then she replied, Big Daddy, please give me 5,000 naira to start Akara business. I said, this is a businesswoman. You won't believe it. I approved 10,000. And in a few months down the line, the same lady wrote back to me. I never saw her till today. But I remember, and the first name was Bosse. Wrote back to me, said, Big Daddy, you have changed my life. I am now worth over 50,000 naira. And I've found a man who wants to marry me. Okay? Just like that. So I asked my office to contact her again because I was in London. I said they should arrange a small traditional wedding and give her money. That's how our life changed. We can't all wait for jobs that are not there. Those jobs don't exist. There is a maximum number of people who can get jobs in the ministries. Maximum number. You can't do it. And in a country of 200 million, you'll be lucky to have 5 million people employed directly by government. So which means we have to be more creative and things like that. And those are the things that I've been doing. There was a young man from Adokiti University called Ayo. I don't also remember his surname. He called, I don't know how he got my number. He said, please, sir, I need 8,000 naira to complete my coursework. He didn't say he wanted to buy internet. You know? And I said, he should please send me his account details. And we paid him 20,000. You will not believe it. The guy called me back to say, I asked for 8,000. I said, I know, but if you are doing your coursework, won't you feed? You have to feed yourself. Otherwise, you won't be able to write a proper coursework. And he thanked me and he disappeared. And later he called me, he had graduated. After his NYSC, the little money he put together, he set up a business center on campus. And then called me and said, now I have a business. I have a business center. I said, is there any problem that you're having? He said, the only thing is that he needs a second-hand generator, which will cost him about 50,000. We approved. That's how to start something for yourself. Don't ask for millions that I don't have. I have my own challenges and everything. So when people come with proposals, and I've been on the entrepreneur series on television in Nigeria, where we invite young Nigerians to make presentations to us about their business ideas. And I see there are people who need just 50,000, there are those who need 100. Of course, there are those who need millions. But Rome was not built in a day. Even Ovation was not built with millions. Ovation was built with the little that we could put together here and there. And like a mustard seed, it germinated and grew into a big oak tree.
That was very, very inspiring. You know, Chief, you've met numerous presidents, queens, including the Queen of England. You know, if I may add, not many people can say that. And you know, the ultra rich. Who are you most in awe of? And do you have a wish list of people, you know, you would still like to meet?
Yeah, I think for me, this is almost surreal. The most important personality or figure I ever met, I would say, is the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen. And why it was important to me was not just because she's the Queen of England. Of course, everybody would love to meet the Queen. Why it was important to me was that I went through a rigorous interview at the Home Office during my exile days. That interview was massive. I was fully prepared. And even the lady who interviewed me said, in her over 20 years of working in the Home Office, she has never seen any case like mine. And that's why I was granted full asylum. It's very rare to find anyone, even at that time, to be granted full asylum. I got full asylum with my family. They gave us passports. They did everything. The British government, I will never forget the role of Her Majesty's government in our lives. And so during the interview, so by the time we had gone through everything, then she asked one final question. Is there anything you would like to say as a way of finalizing this interview? Then I looked at her straight in the face. I said, I wish to assure Her Majesty the Queen that if granted this asylum, she will never regret the decision. I will make her very proud. And you can imagine, I started dreaming that one day I will meet Her Majesty the Queen. I started dreaming that even maybe one day I will be knighted by Her Majesty the Queen. I didn't know what form it would take. Then in 2003, the Queen was coming to Nigeria during Chogun, the Commonwealth summit that they had in Abuja. So Ovation International wrote a letter to our Ministry of Information, pleading with them to grant us exclusive access so that we can do a commemorative special edition on the visit. We didn't ask for a penny, nothing. We just wanted to present a good image of Nigeria. You will not believe it, we were declined. Our government refused. So I left Nigeria in frustration and headed back to Accra, Ghana, and see how God works mysteriously. I was in a salon, I will never forget that day, having a haircut, and then my phone rang. And when I picked it, the person on the line said, can I speak to Dele Momodu? And I said, yes. It was a white voice. I said, okay. So what can I do for you, sir? He said, I'm the Deputy British High Commissioner to Nigeria, and I have instructions from Buckingham Palace to choose 2 publications in Nigeria as the official publications for Her Majesty's visit. And Ovation magazine is in the magazine category, and This Day newspaper in the newspaper category. Those were the 2 selected in the whole of Nigeria. The same me that I was begging my government to let us cover the visit of the Queen. My life, I have too many miracles and too many tales to tell. And I hope after launching my 3 books, I will be able to settle down to begin to write my autobiography. That was how they sent us a letter confirming the coverage, and we assembled our best team, our photographers. At that time, it was Dayo Adedayo and Banke Ibrahim, and we headed to Abuja. And when Her Majesty came in, there was a ceremony in the High Commissioner's residence in Abuja, and the Queen came in, President Obasanjo came, the First Lady, Stella Obasanjo came, and everybody. And the Queen was greeting people one by one. And you will not believe it. She stood in front of me for about 3 minutes. And everything I had ever rehearsed about the Queen, if I ever meet her, the things I will tell her, you will not believe it. In those 3 minutes, she was transfixed. She was hypnotized listening to my story. I said, I came to England as a refugee. And during my interview at the Home Office, I promised that I will make Her Majesty proud of the decision if granted the asylum. And today, ma'am, I have the honor and privilege of letting you know that I publish a magazine, Ovation, regarded as the Hello of Africa. And she smiled and said, congratulations. I will never forget that day. You would think I was on top of the moon, but I was very happy and excited that the day finally came. And so for me, that encounter is one of my best. Of course, meeting President George Bush was also very interesting because we didn't like him much based on the way the media portrayed him. But when I met him, he was so charming, very free. I was wearing, my traditional dress with my cap, and he was calling my cap, "Oh, Chief, I love your hat. I love your hat," and everybody was just staring at us there, and you would think we were old bodies. Same thing when I met President Clinton. And of course, I met so many African leaders. Sierra Leone, for me, was a very, very great one. In 2001, I went to promote peace in Sierra Leone, where so many lives were wasted, arms were amputated, and I went on a peace mission. And you will not believe it, President Tijan Kaba, who was president then, will give me a seat reserved for visiting presidents. I was talking to rebel leaders, Johnny Paul Koroma, Omri Goli, all of them, and they would listen to me. I was preaching to them why they should embrace peace in their country. I traveled into the forest, into the thick forest in Port Loko, in Mange, and it was quite an experience. Our soldiers, some could not believe it. The United Nations gave me 50 armed bodyguards. If you go on YouTube, go and check the enchanting world of Dele Momodu, you will see all these things there, playing a big role as a diplomat, self-appointed diplomat in other countries. I did the same thing in Liberia. In Liberia today, as far back as 10 years ago, I was given the chieftaincy title. That's the highest thing they give you when you go there. Even if a president goes there, they call it the Grand New Ceremony. So I'm the Kiazolu of Grand Cape Mount County of Sierra Leone. There are 15 counties in Liberia, rather. There are 15 counties in Liberia, and one of them is Grand Cape Mount County, and I'm the Kiazolu. So I'm a traditional chief, and I got my chieftaincy and was invited back to install the president, Madam Johnson Sirleaf, as a chief in our own country. We've had some exciting moments in our lives. And that's why when people say we're not qualified to govern Nigeria, I say, who has done the things we did in our private capacity? When I met the former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, in 2009, I believe, Goodluck Jonathan was then vice president of Nigeria. He was in South Africa the same day. The president received him in his office in Pretoria that afternoon. I was received by the president in the evening at home. A private citizen. I learned all these things from Chief Abiola. He taught me how not to be a local champion, but to be a global player. I've always wanted to be a global player. And I thank God that I've been able to do that on all the continents and in over 60 countries.
Very, very inspiring. Very, very inspiring. Well, we are coming to the end of our program. Let me ask you this question, Chief Dele Momodu. What advice would you give the 18-year-old Dele Momodu?
Is to do exactly what I did when I was 18. I already entered the University of Ife at 18, despite the fact that I come from a very poor background. I'd been through so much. I was a village teacher. I was an errand boy at CSS bookshops. I was a library attendant picking books at the Ezekiah Oluwasomi Library in Ife. And that was how I came in contact with literature. That was how I was able to acquire the taste for being a voracious reader and meeting all the world scholars, Wole Soyinka, Koli Omotosho, all of them were in Ife at the time. For me, education is the bedrock that can liberate anybody from poverty. Education is the best way. People say, oh, you don't have to go to school. No, I tell you, even if you're going to be a musician, go to school. That's why you could see when Lagbaja came, it was different because he was well educated. If you're going to be a mechanic, go to school. As a matter of fact, if I'm the president of Nigeria today, I will establish many institutions for our artisans, bricklayers, carpenters, and everybody, where you go to university to get a degree in those artisanship. People think, oh, you don't have to be. No, you have to be. There is no great nation in the world. Look at the Chinese. How do you think they're rising so fast? Education. In my children's school in London, the best students are the Chinese. I used to think my son was the best mathematics student until one day he told me, Dad, he said, forget it. I can't beat those guys. Because what they learn in primary 6, we are learning now in secondary school. Education is it. aeroplanes taking off. You come and tell me that a mechanic would do aeroplane to take off without knowing anything about mathematics, about law of gravity. It's not possible. You talk this Facebook, all these inventions were created by young guys. Some of them were about that age of 18 when they started inventing things. If there was no education, and when I talk about education, I'm not talking about just getting degrees. There must be a platform. There must be a foundation. Some of them dropped out of school, no doubt, but they still had the foundation. So that would be my advice to young people. Number two, I won't waste my time sitting on social media abusing people. It doesn't change anything. The Babangidas of the world, the Obasanjos of this world, they would have died many deaths times over if abusing to kill. But they are still there. And they are still relevant on global platforms. Chase your own life. Stop wasting the little time and the little money you have on internet just to use it to abuse people. You can connect to those who will change your lives on social media.
Yes.
You don't need all that stress for yourself. Who is not frustrated? Even those of us who have been in it for, I'm 58 years plus, we suffer our own frustrations once in a while. But then we have grown up to realize that that does not change anything. You have to work and stay focused, and God Almighty will bless you. And I pray that God will bless all of us, all those watching us, those listening to us, and those who will hear about this later.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
One more. I always end with what I call 10 teaser questions. This is how it works. I ask you 10 questions, and you have 5 seconds to select, an answer. And this is how it goes. Ears or eyes?
Eyes.
Eyes. Write or speak?
Speak.
Yoruba or English?
English.
Wizkid or Davido?
Both.
Soyinka or Achebe?
Both.
Chief. Emirates or Virgin?
Both.
Fayose or Fayemi?
Both.
You've just turned the game the other way around.
Not necessarily, but that is my life. That is my life. I'm a very, very objective person. That's my life. Seriously. Even at the time I had issues with Davido, I was still his biggest fan. I'm not a petty soul. People who know me know that I don't fight on pettiness. We had issues, but I was his biggest fan. That guy produces music after music, and they are all powerful. How can I ignore such a person? I'm not an idiot. And Wizkid, so both of them are like my babies, and they've passed through Ovation Carol at different times. Ijalode Lorido way. In life, people must quarrel, but you must recognize greatness in people, and it takes greatness for you to recognize greatness in others. I won't say Fayose is not great because Fayemi is my friend. No, that's why I will say both. That is just me. Trust me, and I'm not playing politics. They are both my friends.
I call it wisdom.
Oh, well, that's what the Yoruba elders also taught us. And don't forget, I studied Yoruba for my first degree. So it's called the wisdom of the ancients.
A couple more questions. Last one, actually, a photo shoot opportunity. The Kardashians or Chief Mike Adenuga?
Mike Adenuga, 10 times over. That's my ultimate guru. I call him the spirit of Africa. I will not even blink an eye. Today in Nigeria, even if you ask me to choose a picture between the presidents and Adenuga, trust me, that man, if you know him, you will know that it's not about, and I'm not talking about his wealth. He's just a different kind of human being. Since MKO Abiola That is the name. You can see him. He doesn't get involved in politics. He sits in his house. He works harder. Look, you won't believe it. I slept this morning after 8 a.m. I was writing Pendulum. The Pendulum that came out this morning, I submitted at almost 2 o'clock in the night. And I did not sleep until after 8. I was still tweeting, go on Twitter. You see me uploading things. And I learned that from Chief Mike Adenuga. It's incredible how a man, sometimes I ask him, how do you even enjoy this thing? It seems some other people enjoy on your behalf. He's working. And he will just laugh. He say he has no choice. Them all. I like to share. I'm a poor man. He will joke, So I respect him so much, and I wish we have more Africans like him. And he's touching lives quietly. Doesn't make noise about it. Turning people into millionaires and billionaires. From his home in Banana Island, he's there. He's reaching out to every part of the world. That's why today is probably the most decorated Nigerian, if not African. Quietly, he has the highest civilian national honor in Nigeria for someone who is not a president, GCON. He has the highest civilian honor in Ghana. He has the highest honor in France. No, Adenuga is an enigma, and that's why we call him the spirit of Africa. May God continue to keep him for us.
Chief Dele Momodu, is the end of our chat. Thank you so much for coming on our program. It's been, I knew it was going to be very interesting. People are just joining us now. And we've been chatting with Chief Dele Momodu for the past hour now. Well, I say till next week, we have a fabulous guest next week. It's a surprise. God bless you, Chief Momodu, for
God bless you, my dear brother Jide Salo. You've been doing this from school, and I'm so proud of you. Stay good, and my love to your family.
Thank you so much. God bless the viewers. God bless Nigeria. Nigeria all the way.
Yes, proudly Nigerian. Thank you. We do it there. Thank you.